Yo, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be swapping the rear axle in the XJ here. My XJ had factory ABS, which means it got the Dana 35. Which is not good. Very weak axle, can barely handle 31s, which I have. Plan on going to 33 soon. That's why this Chrysler 8 1/4 was the perfect choice. Now, before the 97 model year, Chrysler 8 1/4s had a smaller 27 spline shaft. 97 to 01, they had 29 spline, a little bit better. And this one came out of an 01, so we have the 29 spline. Now, the only thing with all of these is they're all C-clip axles, which means the axle shafts themselves are held in by some C-shaped clips inside the carrier here, and they can break, probably not. Now, word around the campfire is that these 8 1/4s can handle 35-inch tires, and like I said, I only plan on 33, so I think we're good. Before we just go yanking out the old one and putting this one in, we're gonna make it look like brand new. Yep. Let's get started. The first thing I'm gonna be doing is pulling apart the brakes here for two reasons. One, I had to cut the e-brake line while I was at the junkyard, so I'm gonna have to fish that back out. And then I also want to inspect these wheel cylinders. So let's just start pulling off these springs. Now, with all the springetry off, these are like spring-loaded pins. Once I get one off, I'll show you how it works. But I found this old tool just to compress the springs and turn them. See how it works. Sure did. All right, this pin feeds from the back. It looks like a nail, and it's got this little T-shaped front, and that will lock into this, so there's just a little vertical slot. The pin's in the back, and then this is pushed on and then turned to lock it. So to unlock it, you got to push it, turn it, and it comes free. And that's what holds the shoe on. There's our e-brake cable coming into this one. Now we can do the same thing on this side. Yeah. Looks like this parking brake cable has one of them stupid 3-prong collars on it. If you can break one off so it's a 2-prong thing instead of a 3-prong thing, it makes it a lot easier. So on the back of this backing plate for the wheel cylinder here, you'll see 2 small 3/8 bolts. Just carefully remove them by hand. Unscrew the brake line, and the wheel cylinder will come right out. Now this unit actually doesn't look too bad. There's no like leaks around the edges. So we'll see how the one out of my Jeep looks. Now that that side's done, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this side. Is anyone else a little bit concerned on how easy this thing is coming apart? The brake lines didn't even freeze up. What is going on? Now that we already made a mess of the shop with the brakes, we can continue to take off the rest of the brake line stuff, starting with that little bracket right here. And then this block right here, which is where the 2 brake lines come together and go into the Jeep. Now, if I remember right, this 14mm nut bolt thing that holds the breather line into the block is what holds the whole block together. Yep. And the brake lines are free already, so that's just going to come right off. Now I'm going to use this slightly used earplug to plug this hole. Nice. Now I'm going to rip this diff cover off real quick. Now, I'm going to use this blade to get all this old gasket material off. Try to get as much of it inside as possible. Don't do that. I don't know if you can see it, but there's that C-clip that I was hollering about earlier that holds the axle shafts in. So if you break one of these, the whole wheel can just come right off, but that's a minor detail. Anyway, we're going to be using the razor blade, same way we did with the axle housing, and we are going to use it just to scrape the old gasket material off of the diff cover. Nice and easy. Got her all cleaned up pretty good. Now we're going to seal it up so we can put it back on our axle. I got the old top drawer special max temp gasket maker from that toolbox over there. That's all I got. So we're going to lay a bead on here and make sure I go especially thin on the bottom so it leaks. Perfect. Let's go squish it on there. Well, I was not recording any of that, but I put it on, so I'm sorry you missed that. Now, I'm pretty sure it's conventional wisdom not to go torquing on these bolts till the gasket sets a little bit more. As far as I understand it, if you tighten them too much, the gasket will get too thin. I don't know. Now, it may come as a surprise, but I do not have an earplug big enough for that hole. Let me go find something else. Now, with all that prep out of the way, we can take our wire wheel and start doing wire wheel things. Now I got all that prep work done. I'm going to use some degreaser here, spray the whole thing down, and then wipe it off. So the first order of business is taking off the drive shaft. There's just some 8mm bolts holding the straps on the U-joint. Then once it's off, the front part just slips out of the output shaft. So in order to mess with as few brake lines as possible, I'm going to be keeping all these lines with the Jeep, so they'll end up on the new axle. Just like the other one, 14 millimeter on there again. Now we're at the back of the wheel cylinder with this other brake line. Let's see how it does coming off. I don't know why this job is going so well. Why did I say that? Now, just like the other axle, we're going to pull these brakes apart. So we'll get the drum off first. Okay. Now, I recently did a drum brake rebuild, and I obviously did a great job. Oh, and I forgot to mention, in case any of you were concerned, all these parts between the Dana 35 and the Chrysler 8 1/4 are interchangeable as far as the brakes are concerned. Hey, don't let me forget how this all goes back together. That'll be fun. I'll get this wheel cylinder off. Now we'll have a look at all 4 of them and see which one's in the best shape. All right, let's see how we do. Ooh, I got the brakes off on the other side. Same deal, no issues with anything. Now we're gonna take off the shocks on both sides with an 18 millimeter nut. Pickle fork action in there. There we go. Now I'm gonna go do the same thing to the other side. The passenger side shock came off no problem. Now the only thing holding the axle up, besides the jack, is the U-bolts. So we got our 3/4 inch socket. Let's see what happens. Okay, the axle is free, so we will let the jack down. Just the Dana. And as you can see, here's our brake line. That's staying with the Jeep. Okay, so the axle is nice and dry now, so we can hit it with a coat of paint. Now, I bought this paint because it has a wheelbarrow on it, which happens to be my favorite gardening implement. But actually, I've used this paint before. It lays on really nice, and it dries really nice. Although I am just noticing I got flat black. I usually get the satin black. This will work, though. I just finished the 3rd and final coat on the rear here. It'll probably be a little bit before I can actually handle it. I'm gonna do what I can while it's still kind of drying. I'm gonna put the wheel cylinders in. I think we're gonna go with the ones that came out because I know for sure that they work. Now let's have a look at something. Here's a U-bolt from the Dana, and I picked these up with the Chrysler at the junkyard, and they are indeed different, so we'll be using those. So we got it pretty close to lining up. So there's a center pin going through the leaf spring here with like a pin at the bottom. There's a hole on the spring perch that needs to line up with that pin. We're just gonna jack it up until we get it aligned, and then we'll put the U-bolts through. So apparently, even for a 3-inch lift, you need longer U-bolts. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I don't think it's happening, dude. Damn it. Whew, so I was able to get the center pin lined up and kind of compressed on the leaf spring, so I knew that it was definitely bottomed out. And the U-bolts fit, and I got about 2 threads holding it on. So you already know we're gonna send it. Let's tighten these up and see what happens. Well, I got it about halfway through the nut, so that's gonna have to be good enough. Now we'll get the shock on. Now let's go ahead and get this brake line situated. So I got the brakes on the other side, so I think I know what I'm doing a little bit. Come the fuck on. Stop sliding. Drum brakes are fun. Now I had to salvage this piece off the old brakes. That wire was torn on mine. Oh yeah. There. In the back. Good job, everybody. My back hurts so bad, not even funny. Where's my flashlight? What's in my pocket? So the last thing to do is get the distribution block threaded back in with the axle breather tube, and then we'll bleed the brakes. We'll call it a day. Passenger side now, let's see if we can get this bracketry back on. We are almost done. I'm gonna head underneath and bolt the drive shaft back in. In the meantime, let me see if I can find us a volunteer to bleed some brakes.
Hello.
Hi, babe.
Hi.
Do you want to come help bleed some brakes?
Really?
Take that as a yes. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Why'd you hang up on me?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Do you even want to be here?
Not really. It's a little cold.
Courtney's what we call a fair weather mechanic.
Hey, that's rude.
All right, y'all know how this works. Pump it up. That was pretty solid. Oh yeah, we're good on this side.
Are we done yet? What's this? Is it recording? What do I do?
Crack a coke.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're here with Jeep and Jimmy. He has me in here breathing some Blakes. This is why I can't do this.
Got the wheels and tires on. Last thing to do is head underneath and fill it with gear oil. I'm gonna use some 80 weight 90 that I found on my shelf up there, but you go ahead and use whatever that dude on the forum told you to use. Courtney. She is topped off with gear oil. Do a little touch up while we're under here. And we are done, and we'll take it for a test drive. Your Jeep's in the way. Sounds so much better. There is a different noise coming from the front end, but I know what that's from. I already got parts on order. But this is nice. Everything's sounding smooth, especially with the new transmission. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. So we got the non-ABS 8 1/4 swapped in. So all that work I did to keep the ABS system working was for nothing. But if you liked the video, consider subscribing. Take it easy. See you in the next one.
We out.